All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the April 1st, 2019 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. If everyone would please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, Vice President of the Board. Commissioner Lewis is out of town today, so to my right is Commissioner Gary Merrill and our Administrator Mike Frommer and our Clerk Jennifer Walraven. So let's start.
Resolution number 19-273 in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held March 25th, 2019.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-273. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-274 in the matter of approving purchase orders and announce certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 0329.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-274. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-275 in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-275. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-276 in the matter of accepting the treasurer's report for the month of February 2019.
So moved.
Second, discussion. I'd just like to make one comment. The yield on the Star Ohio account, which Treasurer Peterson keeps a significant amount of our funds invested in, is up to 2.58%, which is a great yield, and it's good that we're on the investment side of rising rates because we enjoy further investment income because of the increasing rates. So he's doing a nice job. So anyway, vote.
Vote on motion 19-276. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-277 in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second, discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-277. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-278 in the matter of proclaiming April 1st through 7th as Public Health Week in Delaware County.
So moved.
Second, discussion. I don't know if this is the time you wanted to talk or not, Sheila, but I guess we can do the resolution vote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Vote on motion 19-278. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Okay. And now we'll go on to the next topic. And
we also
Sheila can
have
tell us
our
about
Health Commissioner, Delaware County District Health, talking about Community Health Improvement Plan.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Sheila Hiddleston, your Health Commissioner, stopping by to say hello and good morning and let you know a few things that are going on in the district. And of course, when I talk about the district, it's not in our building. It is the district that we serve. So we are very proud of the fact that Delaware County was named again by Robert Wood Johnson as the #1 healthiest county in the state. That is not a grade card of the health district, but it is truly a reflection of the partnership that we have with all of our community members to work to make us healthier. And you might also have heard that U.S. News and World Report just named us #9 healthiest county in the country, up from number 12 from last year. And again, not a reflection of us alone, but of the partnership that we have. So we appreciate you proclaiming that this week will be Public Health Week. This is the 100th anniversary of public health in the state of Ohio. We have lots and lots of activities planned for now. Our actual health district had their very first meeting in January of 1920, and so that one we will actually probably have a little something going on next January as well. I did bring for you all today, and I have a packet also for Commissioner Lewis, a very nice presentation of our Community Health Improvement Plan. I'd like to introduce you to Jen Kagi. She is our Director of Community Health. It is within her division that all of our community health assessment, planning, all of the implementation kind of takes place. And then Lori Canale is one of our health educator specialists, community health specialists, and she actually is the one who leads our whole initiative with the CHIP. So in your packets you have a toolkit, and we hope that as you're looking at things to show on the county's website that perhaps you could show some of these links. And then we have the whole plan for you, and I'll just draw your attention to page 12 that we do have 2 primary strategies this year, and then we'll have some cross-cutting strategies. We're very fortunate that we we have a lot of our partners in the county that take the leadership in these. So we have a mental health strategy. We're going to be looking at substance abuse, bullying, suicide. Those are three of the top primary ones. We're going to be looking at chronic diseases, kind of the usual ones that we look at, diabetes, obesity. The new one we're adding this year is we're going to be really looking into chronic pain management. We know that a lot of folks who end up addicted start out with receiving pain medicine, and then somehow they just don't get off of that pain medicine. And then when those prescriptions run out, they start looking for different ways to find the drugs to keep their habits going. And so really working with our physicians across the county to look at alternative pain management, and also, though, to educate our public about what does that addiction even look like? Because I think they get their prescriptions and they don't really know that maybe they don't have to take the entire bottle. We could start weaning ourselves off into something like ibuprofen or Tylenol. So on page 12, it kind of goes over those kind of in detail, so I'll give you those. And then I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about anything going on in the county.
You mentioned your health, how well we rank as a county. I really think it's a result of that is him working out at YMCA a couple, 3 days a week.
Okay.
And my working out at Mount Carmel. I think that's what put us over the top.
Well, and there's a group of us that work out at Planet Fitness, so it must be just that, right, for all 190,000 residents. I know the county's bigger than that. We serve 190,000.
A little humor. But good report, good news. This county being ranked so highly in health is, I think, is an important statement about how we take things in our county, how serious we are about it, and all the support.
The ranking looks at health outcomes as well as health factors. So when we think about health outcomes, that's mortality and morbidity over time, so disease and death over time. But those health factors are those things that we're doing every single day to make ourselves healthier. So we don't rank very high. It's kind of it's one of those, it's a good thing and a bad thing. We rank a little bit lower in the number of people who drive by themselves a long distance to work. And so our air pollution rank is up there a little bit. We're number 44 out of the whole state. But we look at that and we think, but actually, isn't that a good thing that we have people who have jobs, who have cars that can drive to a work? So it is one of those kind of double-edged swords there. But we are going to look to see if there's anything as a community that we could maybe look at to maybe improve that a little bit, maybe push the carpooling a little bit more or something like that.
Well, a couple things. First of all, I want to compliment you on the annual meeting that I was able to attend last month, a few weeks ago, and thought that went very well. It really shows how engaged the community is. I think there were representatives from everywhere in the county, and I think they, appreciate the work you're doing and the results you're getting. So, so that again, thanks for doing that and all the good work. But also wanted to talk about the home septic treatment systems. Is that what they're called? HSTS, I think?
HSTS is very good.
Yeah, and I know that's an initiative to connect more people, and I know Mike and Tiffany, have been working on trying to get a plan in place and improve that, just for a whole host of reasons. If you could just comment on what you're doing with that.
So we are working with the county to look at those folks that are accessible, and accessible is not defined in the ORC, but if there is sanitary sewer within a reasonable distance, and I know the county is working on maybe some funding to help those families to connect. Our Board of Health, if the system is functioning, we don't require them to abandon a perfectly good system and then hook up. But any time that we would have to do any kind of a replacement, they would not be allowed to replace that. They would have to hook into sanitary sewer if it is accessible. So my team, Steve Burke and Dustin Kent, have been working with your group to kind of talk about where are those systems that would be close to sanitary sewer, what are the age of those systems, and how does that look? And then, of course, anytime we have new development, before we would approve a household sewage treatment system, we always look to see where are all of the sanitary lines, and we appreciate the partnership with the county in having all of those maps readily accessible to our staff.
We have a neighborhood that was...
I was just working on that
Where
very
we're standing
transition.
on that, Mike, do you have any update on that?
I think I'll allow Tiffany to.
Yeah, so we are actually in the design phase of that project right now. We just got a PER, which is a preliminary engineering report from the consultant, looking at different alignments and soil borings and just kind of what the details are of the area. We plan to go forward with the full-blown detailed design here in the next probably month or two. We'll be finished with that project, I would say, within 6 months, and be ready to start looking at getting some bids. So the neighborhood residents seem to be very excited about the project. Everyone gives us positive feedback when we're out in the area doing the surveys and different things like that. So project's going well.
This is a project that I asked that we get involved in about a year ago, and I remember going to the meeting where we met, and the key to this is as systems deteriorate, that's when you got to replace them or suggest an alternative, provide an alternative, because once they upgrade them, it's another 20, 30 years before anyone's going to consider it again. So I think this...
If we had a failing system and it is accessible to sanitary sewer, we will not allow them to put in another system. Obviously, you're correct. Those systems are very expensive to put in at times, and so we would not want someone who had just built a house and spent $20,000, $30,000 to then tell them they have to abandon that and then hook in. But yes, if it needs to be replaced, we would definitely make that.
The goal is to provide a good, fiscally responsible solution that they might not consider if we didn't have a program like this in place.
Yes, absolutely. It is very foresighted of the county to look at that and to offer some assistance to folks to do that. The other thing we have to look at, even when we're doing a replacement, is the value of the homes. And luckily in Delaware County, most of our homes are of a value that it makes sense to do all of those kinds of things. But we would not allow somebody to replace a system. Now, depending on what the repair would be, we may allow them to do a repair if it's just fairly minor, but definitely not a replacement.
Okay, well, thank you for the presentation. We do have the proclamation. I won't read it, but I would like to, obviously, as we did the resolution, recognize that it is April 1st through the 7th is National Public Health Week, and there's a good bit of information about 100 years and so on that you know, the health districts have provided excellent leadership in helping. I think the things you cite in here are adding 25 years to American life expectancy, reducing motor vehicle crash deaths by 90%. You know, that was really something, and helping reduce sudden infant death rates by 50%. So again, congratulations for all those things. And I don't know if we want to get a picture, Marissa, Sheila, your team. You guys want to come up? All right, we can keep going.
Resolution number 19-279, in the matter of naming Delaware County Regional Planning Executive Director Scott Sanders as the chairman of the Delaware County's complete count process for the 2020 census.
Move it?
You want to move it?
I'm sorry?
You're going to move it?
I said so moved.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed it. I will second. And discussion.
Good morning. My name is Scott Sanders. I'm Director of the Delaware County Regional Planning Commission. Several years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Auditor Keitza contacted me and asked if we would be willing to be the head up the process for the Complete Count Committee and also the census update for this year, for this census, which was easy to commit to, 3 or 4 years ago because it was
It's so far in the
out.
future.
But now that the time is on us and we've got the 1-year countdown. So the first step of that was to update, it's called a local update of certified addresses. And I managed that by taking the information from the census, handing it back to the auditor. He worked with the GIS office. They updated those addresses and we sent them back to the census. So that was step one. Step two is to create a committee or a process where we get the word out to local communities of the importance of the census, that it only comes around every every 10 years, and that it's important that we get a complete count of all the communities. And so what I've provided you with is a little bit of information there just on what the census is. It seeks to count every person living in the U.S. at the time of the counting. It is identified in the U.S. Constitution, and the first census was conducted in 1790 and every 10 years since. The important thing is that it establishes the number of U.S. congressional representatives for the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. Ohio is projected to lose a seat in 2020, so it's important that we get everybody counted because a lot of that population is shifting to the south and west, as you know. We use that regional planning as a baseline population for the next 10 years. We do projections based on housing permits for the next 10 years. MORPC also does that for the entire region. And there are lots of other agencies that use that data, including EMA, community development block grants, federal transportation dollars, et cetera. And so the questions over the years in the past, the questions got longer and longer until finally the census broke the 10-year census into more basic questions and then created something called the American Community Survey, which is much more detailed and just uses samples. So the census is not terribly complicated. It asks a number of items there that you can see: age, citizenship, possibly, Hispanic origin, race, relationship to head of household, sex, and then tenure, whether you're an owner or renter, and a few other questions as well. Again, every household responds. We're not responsible for collecting that information at the county level. That's a federal process, and they hire volunteers, and they do have some paid positions that go. Hopefully everything is either online or through the mail. They will go door to door to try to sample some people that don't respond any other way. But we aren't responsible for doing that. We're just trying to get the word out that it's an important thing. And so what we hope to do there on the second page, and you should have received this earlier as well, today we're simply asking that you authorize that complete count committee by resolution. I've asked Nancy Rieger, who is a retired data director at MORPC and also a Delaware City resident, to help me kind of keep me on track and make sure that I'm hitting these targets. I promised her she wouldn't have to speak today, though. We'd like to have a meeting of public information officers from the larger agencies in the county, the cities, if they have one, villages also, United Way, Health District, County, to get together and just talk about ways that we can get the word out. And our plan is just to make information available on our website, and if other people want to use that information to get the word out, they can do that. I hope to not have month after month after month of committee meetings. That's not the intent here. But we are going to have a full committee, which would at least invite every township, every city and village, again, every large agency, all the directors in the county, any elected officials, to also have that meeting and talk about how to get the word out. And then beginning next year, again, this is kind of the kickoff because April 1st of next year is officially Census Day. So then we'll just have some messages that we send out as we ramp up in the early months of 2020, just that the census is coming, get ready to respond to that. And then over the next, the census doesn't come out with all the information all at once. Over the next year or even 2 years, little bits of information as they put those together, that information comes out, and we would, if that doesn't happen from a federal level, we would do that on a county level here, or in addition to. So today we're just asking that you establish me as the chair and start that process so that we can get started. If you have any questions, I'd
I have a comment. First of all, I think you'll do a great job. You're the proper leader for this. You probably don't know the answer to this. Where do we stand on the court ruling about illegals being counted in the census? Have you heard anything?
I don't know right now.
So I just want on the record, illegals should not be counted. They will affect representation in a state like California. They will be overrepresented if you count illegals. That's not the purpose of this vote today, but I do think it's important that the count for voter representation to affect our state or House in Washington D.C. should be limited to citizens of our country. And my fear is that is not going to be the result, which is more important that every citizen make sure they get counted.
And I do understand that that's a conversation at the federal level, you know, unfortunately.
But I just felt it was important to
locally,
state it.
we don't, have anything to do with the questions. But, I mean, citizenship is on there. If they're counted, do they put whether they're citizens or not?
There are those who want that question eliminated.
Anything else? That's it. Okay. Well, thanks for volunteering to lead this effort. Appreciate it. And it is very important for a lot of reasons that we get this done completely and accurately. So we'll go ahead and take a vote.
Vote on motion 19-279. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye. Thanks, Scott.
Resolution number 19-280, in the matter of approving a transfer of funds for the Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jared Zarrillo with Delaware County Board of DD. This transfer will bring our reserve fund up to $6 million. And that $6 million is a portion of our current liability, which is $6.9 million. And so we're just asking to bring it up to $6 million where we think it's a comfortable level for now. Any questions?
Yep. I know you've been working on this for some time and making good progress.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, vote.
Vote on motion 19-280. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Resolution number 19-281, in the matter of establishing new funds and organization keys for tax equivalent funds.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jenna Gehring, the Economic Development Coordinator. These are to set up fund numbers for the most recently established TIF areas, and just so there's money to go when funds are generated. I recommend your approval.
So moved. I'm already.
Yeah, I already moved it. So we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 19-281. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thanks, Jen.
Resolution number 19-282, in the matter of accepting sanitary sewer improvements for Capri Gardens.
So, oops.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag, Director of Environmental Services. This first resolution is for sewer improvements that were installed and met all of our requirements at Capri Gardens. This is an 80-bed skilled nursing care facility located near the new Menards.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-282. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-283, in the matter of approving a professional services agreement with DLZ Ohio Incorporated for on-call construction testing inspection services for 2019-2020.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
So this is a contract for both on-call inspection services as well as materials testing. We'll only use these as needed during construction, and any of these fees that are used for the residential inspection services will be repaid by the developers as part of their inspection fees.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-283. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-284, in the matter of approving an addendum to the online subscription agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Dude Solutions Incorporated for an operational dashboard with the Asset Essential Software subscription and support services.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
So this is a $3,200 add-on to our current work order management software. This will allow us, currently what we use the software for is only for our maintenance group. And then anybody that wants to use a work order outside of maintenance, they kind of lump it all into our maintenance dashboard. Well, this will allow us to separate collections, operations, maintenance, and electronic maintenance, all having their separate work order dashboard systems. So we've liked the software so far and kind of came to the realization that we want to use it for all the departments. So that's what we're requesting here.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-284. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-285, in the matter of approving change order number 1 to the agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Peterson Construction Company for the Alum Creek Water Reclamation Facility Process Improvement Upgrade.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
This is a change order to our Elm Creek aeration project. This is a $68,893 change order. The current contract with Peterson Construction is for $3,887,000. So this is for a few items that were unforeseen during the design of the project. The as-builts that we had at the Elm Creek treatment plant didn't show some electrical conduits being buried in the bridge slabs, so we had to actually move some of that equipment over, which was a kind of an unforeseen expense during construction. Also had plant operation. When we got a new plant manager, he changed the way that he operates the plant because he utilizes one of those aeration tanks for equalization during heavy rain events. That was something that was not previously done when we actually performed the design. So that was kind of a way that we had to change the sequencing and rent some mixers during construction when Peterson is on site. And then the other item is the Venturi meters that came in. The orientation was different than what we originally anticipated, so we had to order some custom adapters to be able to orient those the way that we want to.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-285. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Resolution number 19-286, in the matter of approving the contract between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Department of Job and Family Services, and SpeakRight LLC for verbal transcription services.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Steve Sikora on behalf of Director Anderson and JFS today. I'm here to present to you a request for a contract with SpeakRight LLC, who is a verbal transcription service for our children's services caseworkers. Roughly 20 workers use this throughout the year in order to help with their documentation and to efficiently manage their time when they are writing up their documents.
This is a renewal?
This was not. We did, we put out a request for bids. We asked for 10 bidders, or we sent out bids, a request for 10 bidders, and we only received one back, and it was our current contract that we have now. So we know the company, we work well with them in the past, so it is not a renewal, but they were the only one that bid on our contract. So.
Okay. This was budgeted?
Yes, it was budgeted, correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-285. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 19-286, resolution of necessity for purchase or lease of motor vehicles for the use of the county sheriff or his employees.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Good morning, Scott Vance with the Sheriff's Office. You may recall about a month and a half ago, I stood before you requesting marked patrol units. This is the formal request for unmarked vehicles that are used by our detectives and our administrative staff, which was budgeted as part of the capital improvement process back in 19 or 18 for this year. It will replace at least 3 Impalas that are over 150,000 miles now currently in the fleet, and will allow for some additional movement within the fleet to allow more even wear on the vehicles.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-286. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
That brings us to administrator reports.
Commissioners, I have nothing to report today.
Commissioner Merrill?
I just had a couple of things, find my notes here. Thursday evening, I had the privilege, softball is a very interesting sport, played at a very high level, in the college level, and our fellow commissioner to the south, John O'Grady's daughter, played for John Carroll and against Ohio Wesleyan Thursday evening, so I went down to I support the commissioner, but support Ohio Wesleyan, so, and they split the doubleheader, so everybody won that night. Commissioner Benton and I both attended the Veterans National Vietnam Veterans Day for celebration, a ceremony at noon on the historical courthouse steps. I have to remember to say that correctly. And it was well done and well attended, and as we've all are aware, the Vietnam veterans, as they return from their service, were probably treated least honorably by the American citizens, and you and I both kind of lived through that period, so we have an understanding of that, and they shouldn't be forgotten. They served at a very difficult time, and ceremony will be an annual event. And the other event that day, that morning, we had a Farm Bureau meeting that Mr. Leeds put together, and that was very helpful, very beneficial, and I thought served a valuable purpose, and that's all I have.
Yeah, both those I thought were very good events. Just a couple other things. Went to the CCAO Taxation and Finance Committee meeting, and a lot going on at the State House with the new administration and all sorts of new legislation being introduced. The big ones are the transportation budget and the operating budget. Transportation budget has not been settled, so it'll be interesting to see. The deadline was March 31st, although they can extend it. So it's still being negotiated. So anyway, that'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Department of Agricultural Director Dorothy Polanda, who was a former state rep over in Marysville, hosted an event out in Trenton Township that I attended, and it was to meet with the Soil and Water Conservation District and members of the ag community, and Brad was there. It was very well attended, very interesting. Director Polanda is really engaging. It's really interesting to see. She's really engaging the ag community, the soil and water, who really are oftentimes the same. She's got a lot going on. She's going to try to work on a number of different things, and so I applaud her, and our representation there was very good, and I applaud our folks for attending. Let's see, went to the Art Van Furniture Store grand opening in Polaris. That was Thursday evening, I think it was, and it was very interesting. There were a couple celebrities there, Cindy Crawford and what's the photographer's name, Sarah? Niles Barker? Okay, I didn't know him, but I knew vaguely of Cindy Crawford. But she's tall. She's 6 feet tall. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. Of course, I grew up in the furniture business. My dad owned a furniture store here in town, and my grandfather too. So I really appreciate how the furniture business has changed over the decades. And this place was huge. And have you been in it?
I haven't been in it, but there's a new one right there in Timothy.
It's across from Costco in Polaris. And it's just huge. And so anyway, again, it was very interesting to get the tour of the place. And went to the Hayes, Delaware Hayes has a group called Youth and Government, and they had a mock legislative meeting yesterday. It was Wednesday or Sunday afternoon. And they passed 2 bills, and they went through the whole debate and proposal and approving the legislation. So it was very interesting. These are all 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and they were very serious about it. It was really, really fun. They were very serious. But anyway, so that was interesting. I think that's it, and we don't have need for executive session. So, all right. So with that, we are adjourned.